Welcome you, Board of Commissioners, Town of Reddington Shores regular meeting. It's Wednesday, May 10th, 2017 at 6 p.m. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mayor, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Drum?
Here.
Commissioner Henderson?
Here.
Commissioner Neal?
Here.
Vice Mayor Capper?
Here.
Mayor Adams?
Here.
Attorney Van Hart?
Here.
First order of business, approval of minutes of the regular meeting, April 12, 2017, and the workshop meeting, April 26, 2017.
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion and a second, in discussion. Hearing none, Mayor, call the roll.
Commissioner Drum?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neal?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Capper?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes. Next is ratification of bills for April and May 2017.
Make a motion to ratify bills for April and May 2017.
Second.
Motion and a second, in discussion. Hearing none, Mayor, call the roll.
Commissioner Drum?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neal?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Capper?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes. On the commission reports, I will start off with, I attended the Fallen Officer Memorial along with Chief Hughes this morning in Pinellas County. And they reminded me that back in 1962, President Kennedy proclaimed May the 15th as National Peace Officer Memorial Day for the calendar week in which May 15th falls. So I would like to recognize that. I know it's not on the agenda, but I would like to recognize that. And all our first responders and those that have fallen in the line of duty. Just keep them in your thoughts. The other thing, talking about first responders, we're working at the present time on getting a fire MES or EMS station here very close to us, which is where, if you know where North Reddington's town hall is, it'll be located there, but it will take up our property also, which we will be working on, probably leasing that to the county, and then we will move forward with since we'll be losing our maintenance facility down there. North Reddington and I are talking together about building a combined, which will save a lot of money. And we're doing two things by that. We're getting a fire and EMS close to us, closer than we got. We got good service now, but this will certainly increase the service. And we're doing two things. We're saving money and saving lives, which I think is a very important step for us. And what we up here are kind of set to do and obligated to do is to protect the lives of our citizens that's here. And other thing, the undergrounding project is still underway. We hope to get that going by the fall. And that's underground to Gulf Boulevard. And that's about all I have, Vice Mayor Capper.
Building department, we've issued 81 permits in the month of April, no single families. We had total fees of $12,655.79. Also, the Constitution Park, we have painted the pavilion now and also the building. It looks real good. Still working on that large picnic table down there, trying to cover it with something that, because it's full of probably 1 million staples in it right now. So we're looking for something to top that off, and we should be finished down there. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Neal.
Okay, I got a couple of things this month. First thing, I guess I want to appoint John Bickerstaff to replace Ron Stein, the financial committee, the financial advisory committee, because Ron's moving away and he resigned. I'm going to miss him. I've known him for a very long time.
Okay, that's a motion to do that. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Mayor, call the roll.
Commissioner Drum?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neal?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Capper?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes. Okay. Commissioner Neal?
Okay, on the ongoing thing on 175th with our speed tables, as I'm sure everybody has noticed, we've put a stop sign up, and that seems to be working very well. We have the people coming tomorrow, or starting tomorrow, they're gonna spray paint the speed limit signs on the road and put down stop sign, warning stop sign on the roads when you get to it. And then next week on the 15th, the county is supplying us with traffic readers for 1 week. And they have a really nice breakdown on that, so we'll really know where we're at with what we're trying to accomplish here. And on the sewers, we're starting the lining projects. Mr. Andrews there, a couple of weeks, about 14 days or so.
Yeah, we're looking about the end of the month.
We have one little issue out here where we have a power line running through the sewer line. And I guess we're still talking and trying to figure out how to fix that. Hopefully we won't have to dig the road up. Maybe we can find a volunteer to crawl in there with an trenching tool, maybe. Dig underneath that line and push it down for us.
Yeah, sure.
I do it myself, but I'm a little fat for that. That'd be headlines, wouldn't it? Wayne would have some good headlines. Sewer commissioner, gets stuck in poop pipe. All right. Well,
Oh, there is that.
I'm good. That's it. That's all I have for the evening.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Neal. You seem to be filling
Yes, I was thinking the same
Commissioner
thing.
Branch's little jokes along the way. Right. Commissioner Henderson?
Another hard act to follow. The Blue Divers were out today installing the swim buoys, so they are ready for swim season in the Gulf. As far as the HR department, the employee manual is almost complete. We've almost finished updating it, and Mary and I hope to have a copy for next meeting, correct? Yes, hopefully. Library, unfortunately, we have been unable to fill the library director position yet. The search continues. But I wanted to thank Travis and Stan for stepping up and keeping the library running smoothly. So thank you, guys. As you all know, I spent a considerable amount of time here at Town Hall. That being said, I am here to hear the numerous requests to use credit cards. Numerous. I understand I brought this up a few years ago and it did not pass. But I want to revisit that again tonight if we can. Mary, feel free to share some thoughts and back me up
No, I
here.
have to agree. I did speak with Commissioner Henderson about this. We are getting more and more requests, and I'd just like to see it go through. Just be able to have them.
Do we
I
need to
agree.
workship it, or?
No, we've already
It's
done all
been
that
worked
before.
out. Yeah.
I know that one of the concerns was the cost to the town that would be associated with it. And the town is allowed to pass along what they call a service fee to the consumer. That's, government's allowed to do that. And I just propose that we give the consumers the choice to decide if they want to have that fee in addition to their charges or not. If they don't want to, they can pay cash or credit card.
Okay, well, if it's proper, I'd like to make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion?
I'm happy. I'm very happy.
Hearing none,
so
Mary call the roll.
Commissioner Drum?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neal?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Capper?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, no, just, yeah. It's 3 years coming. I think that's all I have. That was the sweaty one.
Commissioner Drum?
Okay, I just have one thing. On the EOC report, Mayor Adams, Town Clerk Palmer, Commissioner Henderson, and I toured the Seminole EOC building with Chief
Burford.
Burford. The chief gave us a full tour and explained to us what would happen during an evacuation up into that building. This building's set up to keep us all in contact with the county police, fire, EMS, with or without power. It also has a potable water holding tank. Mayor Adams is working on some small details with Town Clerk Palmer and to finalize having our city employees and officials work out of this structure in the event of evacuation of the beach. When this is finalized, Town Clerk Palmer and I will, at that point, our meeting with the staff about the Reddington Shores disaster plan will take place. As a reminder, the Hurricane Awareness Town Meeting is May 15th from 7 to 11, or 7 to 8, sorry.
Whoa, really?
We'll have a panel of experts here to answer any questions. There are flyers here, over there on that table. Please take one with you, tell all your neighbors. It's very important to plan now, plan ahead. We want to be ahead of this in case we have a disaster. Commissioner Henderson just did the library for me, which was, thank you very much. On a side note, patch on 180th was done today. The blacktop's all down, it looked good. I have nothing else to report.
Thank you, Commissioner Drummond. And I skipped two things on mine. The one I wanted to give the fire report. And for non-emergency fire responses for April, there was none. And there were 5 emergency fire responses, of which the time was 6 minutes and 58 seconds. On the EMS side, there were 9 EMS responses with a response time of 5 minutes, 49 seconds. There were 25 emergency EMS responses for a response time of 4 minutes and 52 seconds. The other thing is on the police end of things, criminal reports down 2 in Reddington Shores, supplement reports 9, physical arrests were up 2, police action reports 1, traffic accidents 2, citations were down 5, parking tickets were up 20, traffic warnings down 25, looked like they converted from warnings to tickets. Ordinance violations were 11, and other calls for service was 37. And that looks about it. Probably 1 or 2 of the arrests that you know about were done by the Sheriff's Department, so that's why they might be shown on there.
Okay.
With that, we're happy to have our representative who's just back from Tallahassee, and I'm sure pretty worn out. But Kathleen Peters. Kathleen, if you'd come up.
Thank you, sir. I enjoy sitting here. I miss local government very much, especially after this session. I appreciate you letting me come and give a legislative update. I try to do them every year, and I pray this year we don't have a special session, so I can spend more time in the community. But so some of the updates, and we only just left, so I haven't gotten everything all downloaded yet. Especially those last couple of days, we passed so much, but I had got a good list, and I'll entertain questions because my guess is you have quite a few. So to start with, on the budget, which we just voted on Monday night, in higher education was really the big winner this year, and we increased the overall budget more than 7.1%, which the overall budget is $7.9 billion, which is $522.4 million more than we did last year. So education was the big winner, both higher ed and elementary K through 12. On healthcare was a disappointment, the budget, for a couple reasons for me. We had a decrease of about 0.5% total spending and about 0.8% in general revenue from last year. And that equates to a whole lot of money because healthcare is the biggest part of our budget. My disappointment is last year, and I'm sure I talked to you about mental health. Mental health has been what I've been working on for the last couple of years. And I truly believe that that is the number one crisis, not only in the state, but in this country. And it's what consumes the resources out of every single system at every level of government. It's the number one thing driving up the cost of health care. It is the number one thing consuming our costs in courts, in law enforcement, in our jails, and our prisons. More than 80% of the people going into Florida state prisons, their number one service they need is mental health and addiction. Number one thing that they need. And the number one reason we take children away from their families is drug addiction, and we know that the connection between drug addiction and mental illness is tied together. And so last year I got them to put $63 million more in the budget for mental health, and that is over the general revenue, so that would be non-recurring. This year, we weren't even able to get 20% more. So we took probably a $40 million cut in mental health funding. We also took big cuts in hospital funding. The hospital funding, I know the hospitals are very upset about it, and there's been news reports on it, but we're convinced that we're going to get LIP funding, which is low-income funding for people who are indigent that go into hospitals. So we believe that where we don't have the money in the state now, the federal government's going to bring that in, because that was taken away from us prior, and so now we'll be receiving it again. And so it should balance out, and the hospitals shouldn't have that bad of a cut, although right now it seems like they are, but the federal money should be coming in to supplement that. We did, however, increase for drug abuse, because opiates, although Reddington Shores may not have a big crisis with opiates, but the county does. And the hub of all of it is in Manatee County. It seems to be the distribution center for the state, and we haven't been able to rein that in. And it's gotten so bad, and it isn't just somebody making bad decisions. These are people that get in car accidents and they get hooked on pain medications or other circumstances that have caused this. And so at this point in the state of Florida, we are losing 10 to 12 people a day in overdose deaths as a result of heroin and opiates. Most of it has to do with fentanyl. They're cutting the heroin with fentanyl and carfentanil, which is a tranquilizer they give elephants. And it takes a very small amount for you to feel it in a human, and the amount that they're putting in the heroin will kill you instantly. The other thing that the street drugs are doing is they're putting Dilaudid, which is a time-released, so that their high isn't 4 hours, it's 20 hours, and so people are not surviving with that. And so the governor did declare a state of emergency, and so we are going to be pulling down some more federal dollars to approach that. He's got task force, and they're going to put together a strategic plan on how we can rein in the opiate epidemic that is in this state, and it truly is an epidemic. So that's the good news out of the healthcare budget. In agriculture and resources, we did do a $3.6 billion increase. A lot of that will have to do with Lake Okeechobee and the Indian River Lagoon. But more than that, we did put in more. Senator Latvala and I had a bill to put $50 million in for beach renourishment and inlet projects. Because every year we fall short. Every year we do not meet the needs that the state has. We typically only put $30 million in, so this year we got $50 million in. So what that should do is the goal is to have DEP to have a 3-year plan, just like DOT has a 5-year plan for roads. And that way, the cities and the counties can prepare for the match dollars that they have to have, and they'll know, well, I'm up in 3 years, and I can start putting in the revenues I need to. I think it's a better plan, because before it was whoever had the most clout in Tallahassee got their project. And that was seen so well when Matthew came through along the northeast of the state, because they didn't have their beach renourishment when they should have, because they didn't have the right person pulling for them to get what they needed, and they didn't get the funding. And so when Matthew came in, not only did they lose their roads, I mean, they lost a lot of infrastructure, not just the beach, but they lost roads, they lost power lines, they lost a lot of the stuff that's under the road. And that's why it's not just tourism, although tourism is so important, it's to protect our infrastructure that makes it so important. So I think the new plan that Senator Latvala and I had out, although it didn't pass, we believe next year we should have greater success on getting that passed. Unfortunately, it was politics that prevented that from passing, but we did get the money. And we did put the criteria in for this year's budget tied to it, so they have to use that criteria. And that way, cities that don't have that lobby helping them, still, it's based on need. And I think that's a much better route. As far as tax relief, there's a couple things. One, my guess is you're not happy about. One of them is $183 million tax cut, which is the back-to-school holiday, which takes place on August 4th through August 6th, so it's only a 3-day tax holiday. And that includes clothing costing $60 or less would be tax exempt, school supplies costing $15 or less, and personal computers priced at $750 or less will all be tax exempt. There's a sales tax on rental of commercial property, reduced from 6% to 5.8%. The business community there's a lot of states that don't charge tax on leases. I mean, silly as it is, I had to pay tax on my lease from my office, and silly that government is taxing, it just doesn't make sense. Anyway, so that was something that, for the 5 years I've been up there, the business community has been trying to get, and that's the best we've gotten, is a 0.02% reduction for them. On disaster preparedness, there's a 3-day sales tax holiday for that from June 2nd through June 4th, and that is supplies that have really anything to do, so batteries and flashlights and things like that that have to do with storm preparedness, which you'll be prepared for, so you might want to remind folks.
What's the date again?
June 2nd through June 4th. So when you have your workshop, you might want to mention that to them, that if they want to wait to get their supplies, they can save some money on their taxes. The other thing is veterans, and then I'll get to some of the hot issues that I think really concern you. We passed a bill for veterans because we've done all these things for veterans, and I don't think we've done a good job promoting what we've done for veterans. And truly, Florida is the most veteran-friendly state, but a lot of times when a veteran wants to get their benefit, whether it's a tax exempt or whatever it is, if they don't have their official papers, it's hard to prove it, and it's inconvenient. And so the DMV is going to have official, and we've already put it on the license, on the driver's license. There's a V that's put on the driver's license, so that can be an official thing. And then if they don't drive or anything like that, they can get an official state ID that says that they're a veteran, and it would qualify just like federal papers would. And so that's something that we did for the veterans. Now, on the other things that I think are close to you, home rule,
Big time.
it's a big one. And because I was a mayor of a small city like yours, I get it. And I will tell you, and every time I come to a small city, and I've gone to the Big C meetings, and I've said very loudly that the leadership in Tallahassee does not believe in home rule, and that they are going to do everything they can to undermine home rule. They feel that local government impedes progress and development, and they are on a mission to eliminate and erode home rule. And the ideology and the philosophy is that Washington should not dictate to the states, and the state should run their state. So that is a split with me. I don't agree with that. I think it's I think it's wrong. I think when it comes to transportation, that preemptions may be appropriate because you don't know where the boundaries are for mass transit, things like that. I can understand it. But on some of the things that they were looking to do, and I know you've heard HB 17, which did not pass, I think the only one that truly passed that is harmful at this point, and I worked really closely with the League of Cities and the Association of Counties to come up with ways to derail that. And so Senator Latvala was a big player in the Senate on derailing a lot of that. I worked really hard in the House. Because there are not a lot of local elected officials up in the House of Representatives, we're not allowed enough voice. So we did manage to keep all of them down except for that $25,000 homestead, which is going to impact you on your taxes. It's going to do a lot of things. There's a lot of inequities, and I'm certain that you all know what they are. So that will go to referendum, it will go on the ballot, and so it's going to be up to the local communities and the counties to really educate the people on what that's going to mean. And if the voters decide they want that extra tax break personally, then all the cities are going to have to come up with a way on how they're going to address that. My fear is that the legislature will continue to, there was an egregious bill out that was going to make local government not have more than 30 days in reserves, when we know FEMA doesn't come in for 90. Thank you, because that's what I said. And not only that, but if you were going to raise your millage past the rollback rate, you were going to have to take it to referendum. You have to take it to referendum in November, even though your budget starts in October, which means you'd be doing a 2-year budget plan, which government doesn't do. So the whole thing was the most egregious legislation against local government and home rule. And so my concern is that they would do something like that if that referendum were to pass, and then it cripples local government. And so it's something I'm very loud about, and I've said this every year that I've been up there, is we need our local government folks to really get loud and start really loud, and let your citizens know. And when you have people that are up there that are not with home rule, that they need to understand that the residents are not going to vote for them again. And it's been a terrible, awful fight, and I don't believe it's going to get better. So you truly, truly, you'd be preaching to the choir to me, but our Senator, Senator Brandis, you need to have some serious conversations with him so he truly understands.
Yeah,
And I'm not calling him out, I'm just saying,
well, I understand that.
there's, he's also your representative, and so he needs to truly understand. But that is going to be a fight that I need help with. And I've said that every single year, and I'm hoping that people are hearing me now, because they weren't hearing me a year or 2 or 3 ago. And I believe that the assault is going to continue under this leadership. The other thing was vacation rentals. And although you didn't tell me many issues with vacation rentals here, I didn't hear too much from you, but I certainly heard from your neighbors. And when I was the mayor of South Pasadena, the unincorporated area next to me had horrible problems with vacation rentals. And I know you know the stories in the horrible stories that have been told. And what I can tell you is the vacation rental industry has a huge lobby. And that is another one where they want to take away home rule and not allow you to have nuisance ordinances. Now, they don't want you to take away, and what they want is that whatever you do for any resident, that's what you can do for a vacation rental. So if there's a noise ordinance, it has to apply to everyone. And that sounds on paper like the right thing to do. Because you have some residents who are retired, who might park on the lawn or might have trash in the yard, but a really expensive fine would be egregious and really not appropriate. But then when you have someone who has a house on the Gulf of Mexico that's getting $14,000 a week rent, a $100 fine a day is just part of doing business, and they're not going to do anything to rein it in. And so what they want is equal playing, and and because they've already taken away your ability to change your ordinance on vacation rentals, which again is another egregious thing on home rule, I think this is outrageous. Now, we were able to kill it, and then again, I wasn't able to kill it in the House because there just aren't enough of us. But in the Senate, Senator Latvala played a huge role, and I'm not just singling him out, but he really is, on home rule, he's one of the heroes. And he probably deserves a great big cape with his name on it, because he really is like a superhero for home rule. So we tried to do some things for Reddington Beach. We had a local bill. There were several people in our delegation that didn't like that bill, and so they killed that bill. We tried to do it on the vacation rental bill, that if it did go through, that we'd be able to protect that city. And we failed miserably, but we tried every plan A, B, C, and I think we even had a plan E. And in the end, we weren't successful, but we'll go back again next year and we'll fight. And what I'd like to do next year is file some legislation, and I don't know that I'd be successful because of the home rule and the powerful lobby that they have, but start defining what commercial property is. Because that's really not defined. And when you have somebody gut a house and put 10 and 12 bedrooms in it, and they're renting it nightly and weekly, to me, that's commercial property. That's not residential property. And since you don't have the ability to do that, then that is something I'm looking to approach at next year. So those are some of the hot button things. Now, you also have never come to me and asked for resources, and I'm glad to hear you're doing your sewer stuff. I know you all know I was really angry about the sewer system issues last summer. I tried to pass legislation, and I'll tell you the reason I was not as successful this year in passing legislation is I did not agree with the speaker. He wanted to eliminate Visit Florida, and he wanted to eliminate EFI, he wanted to eliminate a lot of things, and part of that, eliminating that, also in his vision is eliminating home rule. And I spent an hour in his office explaining to him why I could not get behind his vision for eliminating Visit Florida and for taking away home rule, and so I told him I'd be voting against him, and that would be why legislation doesn't quickly pass for someone who goes against their speaker. So, and that's okay. It's disappointing in some ways, but it's okay. And when you're smart, you can get things done. And we've been able to get the beach stuff in the budget, and we've been able to pass some things, but not as successfully as I have in the past. But I think it's important to stand on what's right, and I believe my decision on supporting Visit Florida and supporting home rule was the right thing to do. So I would entertain questions. And I did say you've never asked for resources. Now, I did bring in $1 million for St. Pete Beach for their sewer system. Treasure Island, I got them, I think, $1.2 million for one of their roads. Madeira Beach, we got them some lighting projects. So you've never come and asked for resources, and you've been a very strong city and independent, and you're fiscally sound. But if ever there comes a time that you need something, don't ever hesitate to ask.
I will do it,
All right?
promise you. One thing, I did see Lavelle this morning and thanked him for his support.
Good, I'm glad.
And I would like to stress that home rule is under attack, big time. So, and any backing that we can get, calls to Senator Brandes, I would appreciate.
Be active with the league. If you're not active with the League of Cities, please be active with the league, and make sure that you get their communications. And I think what is key is that not only that you get those communications, but you get that communication out to the citizens, because I don't think they understand when the rubber hits the road what that means. And truly, it's something that has got to be communicated better, because we're not doing a good job, in my opinion. So, any questions?
I've got something.
Yes,
I know in your work you don't get a lot of thanks and things, okay, just like any other.
right.
But I'd like to thank you, and this is for something personally that you did for a relative of mine.
Oh,
Okay, and as far as drugs is what it was.
well, thank you. And it's my pleasure. And there for a while, when it was real out in the media that I was working on that, I was getting about 1 to 3 calls a week to help people, because the system is so desperately broken. Senate Bill 12 allows us to fix it, but unless we fund it, it's meaningless. And not only did they cut $40 million out of the budget for mental health, I requested that they use match dollars, because we have more than $200 million that we could use for match to bring down federal money, and I was denied.
Matter of fact, he's doing real well, too.
And I'm really glad to hear that.
Okay,
I keep him in my prayers.
thank you.
Is there, I know on TV news lately, is Black Death shown up here yet? As far as the drug known as Black Death?
You know, that I don't know. I haven't toured any enrichment facilities or anything like that recently, and I haven't checked with the sheriff, so I don't know that. I know about the fentanyl, the Dilaudid, the carfentanil, and that kind of stuff, but I don't know about the Black Death. You know, the Xanax thing was a problem. We had 23 or 28 people died in a week, because there was, now, at least our Attorney General was quick on that. The drug dealers they bought on Amazon a pill press that makes the pill, they take the compound and they put it in the press, and it puts all the same markings that are on a Xanax pill. And so the Attorney General contacted Amazon and requested them to stop selling it, and so they did, but that doesn't mean they can't get it someplace else.
Right.
And so college kids that were preparing for tests were, going to the street to get some drugs and died, because they thought they were taking something that they weren't. And so it's really such a dangerous thing, but I pray hard on this one. Any other questions?
Anybody got anything?
We're good.
Kathleen, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you for letting me come.
Appreciate your help up there. And I know
It was a
since we
real,
met back here a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
A year and a half ago, so.
it was a tough battle, I'll tell you. This year was, I'm battle fatigued.
I'm sure you are.
So anyways, it's my pleasure, and if ever you have any questions, please call me, and I'm happy to come and speak with you anytime.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir, what is your name?
Pat
Are you,
Daninos?
okay, you're one of the owners?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I thought you were, but I wasn't. Just wanted to make sure before I moved too far ahead of you.
Thank you.
We've got, in the old business, approval of the purchase of a Bobcat. Now, what this is for, the beach crossovers that go across the dunes, sand blows on, fills them up, and the guys go out there and try to shovel for 5 or 6 hours, and then they get done shoveling, and the next day they're shoveling again. So, as you know, the mayor of North Reddington and myself have kind of got together lately, and we are splitting the cost of machinery. We split the cost of the tractor, we split the cost of the beach rake machine, and we're going to split the cost of this Bobcat. Now, this Bobcat will be for the next year's budget, not this year, but next year's budget. And I'd like to put on that budget about $17,000. The Bobcat is 33 something, and we split it, it's roughly 17 apiece. So I'd like a motion that I could put that on the budget for next year.
I'll make a motion to approve that, to go to the budget.
Second.
Motion and a second, in discussion.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
This is a tracked Bobcat,
Yes, sir.
and you're gonna be using this on the beach.
Yes, sir.
The only concern I would have is with these these bogey wheels in here, you get the sand built up in there, and you know, you can't compress sand. It's not like dirt or mud, you do well in there. I'm pretty sure they make a four-wheel drive one with wheels on it,
The problem with that,
gets stuck.
Yes.
one, it gets stuck. The other is, when they go on these beach walkways, the weight with the track is distributed over a distance. Okay? And where with the wheel, it's not really distributed.
And it's like our tractor too, it definitely has to be hosed off every time it comes off that beach.
The other question I have is this company going to certify our people to operate this machine?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, whoever it, I'm pretty sure this one, if it's still, it's a piggyback ride over, piggyback off of this one. So if the piggyback is still there, which I think it will be, when we go to purchase it, then there'll be somebody certified.
And
And
there's
I'm not sure that Don next door can't already operate one, so,
And we already have a truck and a trailer that can tow this thing around.
no. We don't plan to have to tow it around.
Just drive it from the building over.
Over to on the beach, and then it would go right down the beach and right back.
Gotcha, okay.
We're going to have basically the same agreement we had with the tractor.
Yep.
Okay.
So, I got a motion and a second, right? Okay. Mary, call the roll.
Commissioner Drum?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neal?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Papper?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yeah. All right, and the purchase of cameras for Town Hall,
that's me.
Commissioner Henderson.
All right, Mary and I met with 3 different companies regarding security cameras for Town Hall. We met with ADT, which currently does our security system monitoring. We met with Fort Knox Fire and Communications, and also Cross Security. I also decided to get a quote for them for our fire monitoring and annual fire certification that we're required to have, and also upgrading and updating our 17-year-old security system. I included a cost analysis in your binder spreadsheet to make it easier for you to compare the 3 quotes, because it gets a little bit crazy with lots of papers. I did the analysis based on a 15-year period, because obviously we don't change a whole lot. After 17 years, we have the same stuff. So I did it 15 years just to be safe. And as you can see, Cross Security and Fort Knox are almost identical in cost. Like maybe, what, $50-ish? Or $25, I don't even remember. But both companies are highly rated and used by other government agencies. But I have to say, Fort Knox came in and met with Mary and I and gave us a superior presentation with innovative ideas for us, and I believe they will be the best choice for our current and future needs. So I'd like to make a motion that we accept the proposal from Fort Knox Fire and Communications for the updated security system and monitoring, the monitoring of the fire alarm system, and the annual certification, and the installation of the video cameras.
Second.
Motion and a second, in discussion?
Fort Knox, I saw that in the quote, it didn't specifically say that the DVR would be in a secured box.
We get to decide where it's going to be. We did talk about where we would be placing things, and he knows we did talk about that. He may not have written it, but he was beyond thorough.
Okay,
So-
only because
Yep.
what will happen is if somebody
I
breaks
know.
in, they take the DVR with them,
I
and
got
now
it.
we have no
You're right.
recording of who it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah, we just
So
have to have it
that needs to be
hidden.
a locked box.
Hidden, really, is what we, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I didn't see that in the report.
Yeah, but, yeah, it's a varifocal lens, where he told us exactly how the placement would be, how we could like zoom in, and, I mean, it was a great system, actually.
Okay.
Okay, motion and a second, any further discussion? May I call the roll?
Commissioner Drum?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neal?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Capper?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes. All right, on the next, approve the purchase of electronic speed signs, Commissioner Neal.
Mr. Andrews and I, and even Mary was involved in this. We called up, the first company we called was Radar Sign, the one that North Bennington Beach purchased. And then we got another price. I sent them out on the emails and got another price from Volus Radar Speed and traffic safety device. And all the signs, we started out with, we wanted solar, but we want these so when we can move them around town to different places. The solar is kind of heavy. So all the pricing is about the same. I mean, within $100. A radar sign, theirs weighs less than 30 pounds. They run off of batteries. The batteries last 2 weeks. They can be recharged in 24 hours. We have the option of buying an extra set of batteries if we wish at any time. They two universal mounting brackets, and they mount onto a regular speed limit sign, because these are designed really to mount underneath of the speed limit sign. And the radar sign is pretty much a bulletproof box, where the rest of them was just a little fiberglass box. These right here, you can actually hit them with a baseball bat and shouldn't hurt them, except for maybe knock the components around a little bit inside. So I'm thinking that we get 2 of these, and then we can download the traffic data off the signs onto our iPhones, so we can continuously keep up with the traffic around the speeding around on each road that we have it on. Say we move it to 180th, or we move it to 175th, we move it over here to 174th. We just have the option, and we can keep our own data going and keep up with it.
So you want 2 of them?
2 of them.
And,
We put 1 in each direction on 175th to start with, and then we can, after we figure out what we're doing there, we can just move them over by Commissioner Drone's place over there, because I know he's over there directing traffic too.
So you're talking about 3,300 for each one?
3,300 for each one, and that included extra brackets.
That includes the software or whatever hardware for recording the speed and being
Yes,
able
it
to
does.
download? Do we really need that, you think?
I think it'd be a good idea to have it for the extra $275
yeah.
per sign.
Well, it would be a good thing to monitor and see what's going on before we start doing speed tables in.
Right.
We already
But-
have some coming from the county next week, monitoring.
Oh, we do?
Mhm.
Okay, then
Yeah,
why don't we just use those first and see how it works and go from
Well,
there?
that wouldn't be just a short-term
Yeah,
thing,
that's
right? There was a
the
week
county's
long.
list,
Just a
but
week?
it's-
Yeah.
It's
I
that
think we
week,
need to
what
do
he
it.
just talked about.
Continue.
Okay.
the count.
With this right here, we can monitor for years. And whatever road that we want to monitor on, we just move a sign over there and we can monitor it.
Did
You
you
could
want-
actually just move the bracket, correct?
Well, we could actually put a speed limit sign up and just take the whole box and just mount it to the speed limit sign.
Is it, we don't know how that box is mounted, do we?
Yes, universal brackets. It's got 2 bolts that mounts it to the sign.
Just worried about somebody stealing it.
No, they can't. They have to open the box to get to the
Oh.
nuts and take
Okay.
it off.
Okay.
Did you want to get extra batteries?
I think we just buy the signs and then we'll order the batteries. These come from Georgia, just the other side of Atlanta, where the other company was from California and the other company was from New York. So at least we're keeping it a little closer to home.
Okay, so you want a motion, you're gonna make a motion to spend how much money?
I make a motion, we spend $6,630 to radar sign to purchase 2 radar signs.
I second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, Mary, call the roll.
Commissioner Drum?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neal?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Capper?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yeah. Okay, on to new business. The first is this appeal of the special magistrate on variance decision of 244, 176 Terrace Drive. who's gonna get up and talk?
We're both gonna come up.
Okay. If you want to come up and talk, and then I'm gonna ask our building official,
Okay.
talk about it a little bit.
Let me go ahead for any of you that are going to be presenting
Yeah.
any testimony or evidence, including, I guess, Mr. Andrews, if you'd raise your right hand, be sworn in. Each of you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay. thank you.
And you need to state your name and address, even though we got it here for the record.
Pauline Daninos, 244 176 Terrace Drive, East Reddington Shores.
I live with her.
And the commission, I believe, has the packet that the special magistrate heard that has all of your exhibits. Do you want that just to be incorporated at this
Yeah.
time, so you don't have to go through and introduce everything?
Yeah, that's fine.
So-
They left out some stuff, but
Okay,
I think they did. But
go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say, one of the things they left out was the reason that we were doing it was so we could expand the front of our house and enlarge my son's bedroom. And my son would be, due to the circumstances with his situation, he'll be living with us permanently. So we wanted to try and enlarge in the house. We couldn't really go up because of the 50-50 rule. We could, but it would have been just absolute fortune to do it. It wouldn't have been worth staying in the house. We talked to contractors, said, yeah, you'd have to sell and move. You'd be better off doing that. So we don't want to leave. We've been in that house. We put a ton of money in the backyard and the inside of the house already. And we'd like to, if we can, bring the house out. I think it's 5 feet, is it?
An additional 5 feet
Yeah,
from the setback.
yeah.
5 feet from the setback.
So what's the
Yeah.
overall extension?
From where it is currently, I think it'd be about 10 feet total.
So you're asking for 5 more feet.
Yeah, just so we can enlarge, and the main thing is we enlarge in his bedroom and the front. The whole house would come out. I mean, the kitchen obviously would have to come out with it too, so we just have to move everything forward.
So where your garage is, because your garage sticks out further than your home.
No.
Right. No, they're even.
Are they all
Yeah,
even?
it's all
So you
even.
would come down to the garage and leave the garage setback? Or is the garage going to be expanded as well?
Yeah, the whole house equally. It would look
All the whole
funny.
front?
Yeah, the whole front, just
What is
Make
the
it
cost
even.
of something like that?
to bring it out. Well, we have our plans done, but we haven't got a quote. We've been waiting on a quote from a contractor for quite some time, which is shocking how long it takes to get a quote. But I'm going to guess it's probably going to be about 75,000.
What is the value of your home? Not the land, just your home for the 50/50 rule?
170.
Yeah.
Could I interrupt
Yeah.
just a minute, because I think I forgot something about Commissioner Neal had contacted me and indicated that he feels that he has a conflict of interest because of some business relationships. He has filled out the conflict of interest form that the town clerk has, and it's on file, and indicated that he will not be voting tonight or participating. Is that correct? That's correct. And I apologize for forgetting about it. I meant to say that. at the
No
start of the
problem.
hearing. Thank you.
Yeah, so that's the main reason.
Question, are you 20 feet now to the house?
Yes,
Yes.
And you want to be 15 feet? Okay.
correct.
Yeah.
Would you have a problem with doing 2 driveways instead of parking on the yard?
Actually, what we'd be willing to do is put soluble pavers, the specifically permeable pavers
Right.
throughout the front, it's that leave gardens. We want to add a garden on each side. I mean, we don't want
And in
it to
front
be
of the
all
house.
concrete looking, so we wanted to put a garden in the front of the house once it's out, and then leave the one that's on the side, maybe put another one on the other side. At least it'll have, some
Yeah, just
green
just
space.
eyeballing it, I didn't put a measurement to it, but
Yeah.
it looks like you could probably park 2 cars even by moving that out 5 foot.
Correct.
Because you're 20 foot, but plus you got the easement in there. No further questions.
Steve, could you enlighten us a little bit on this, too?
Well, the existing house is actually set back 25 feet from the right-of-way.
Okay.
So there's 5 feet already available to build before you get to the 20-foot minimum setback.
Yeah.
You know, the 20-foot comes out of our town code 97. Code says you're supposed to have a certain setbacks, and the rear setback is 20 feet, and I think the rear setback on the survey is, I think you have more than that, but the pool's in the way there, so.
Yeah, we didn't anticipate having to make the house bigger at the time, and we didn't know at that time that our son would be with us permanently.
So they're coming out additional 10 feet or
No, they're
5 feet?
over 10 feet.
total, yeah.
So 5 feet.
But still, they're going to end up with 20 feet in the front.
It would end up with 15 foot.
15 foot.
Front property
15 foot.
That's why
Okay,
we're
so
bringing-
they're bringing the house out 10 feet in.
line. Yeah.
Okay, all right. You threw me on that 25 feet, okay.
It wouldn't be worth doing it
I
for
understand.
5 feet, unfortunately.
I was going to say, why did you even turn it down? If you had that.
You know,
he
the
said
house,
here,
the house has,
Mm-hmm.
it's set where it is, and there's extra setbacks on all sides, but not really any room to add on. But unfortunately, the variance requirements usually state that there's a hardship, that there's something particular to the land, that the variance requested is the minimum necessary to accomplish what you want to accomplish. And a couple of other conditions I can't remember right off the top of my head, but I think the magistrate went through and discussed each of those and asked for anything, and his order came up denying it. That's why we're here.
It's in the report, he forgot about our son now, so living with us, that was not mentioned in it at all.
The what, I'm sorry?
In the report that we had received, they didn't put in the reason for the expansion, which is, was based on our son.
But I don't think that
Yeah.
actually falls under the reasons for a
doesn't.
hardship.
A hardship,
So you have
okay.
to meet all criteria for a
I thought there was
hardship.
just one of the ones that they had, no.
All.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's my understanding when I went through this. You did not meet all according to the special magistrate. I did notice also that on the letters from your neighbors, it states the wrong setback.
the neighbors don't know.
Well, I know it states something different than what you're asking for, so I didn't know if the neighbors knew
Yeah, I don't
the
think they
correct
know.
number or if they didn't, so.
No, they don't know.
Gotcha.
We had we had spray painted where we're allowed to go out and where we would like to go out, and we had shown them and proactively got signatures from
Gotcha.
about 6 people adjacent and
Yep.
next door. And then I know that the town had sent out letters as well, almost 30, including the people that we had the signatures from. And we have not heard anybody come forward that wanted to contest what we were going to do.
Yeah. One of the other things is, I know that they don't consider that a hardship, but they did approve another house and allowed them to do it and that wasn't even a permanent hardship. They had 2 kids, single mother, and she needed the room to raise 2 kids until they left the home, and now
What
they've
is that
moved out
address?
of the home. Christie's.
It's,
That was in 1992.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah,
understand
no,
that.
I'm just saying,
But the
that that
point
was a
is,
different
Yeah.
sort of adjustment and all that kind of stuff than we have
She
now.
came
too.
out,
We have a
um,
special master to make these decisions based on the criteria that the code is.
Mm-hmm.
And if the code is wrong, then we need to change the code, but, you know,
Yeah.
how I see it is, the special magistrate made his decision, and we hire him to make those decisions for us, because we're not experts, and I feel like he is. So unless you have some compelling evidence or reason for us to overturn the special magistrate, I've looked at everything, and I've pored over it for hours. And personally, I don't see that. I don't know, please,
Yeah,
talk to me.
I think that, I think a reason that it should be overturned, I think number one, the code's old-fashioned. I mean, it's old. I mean, look in the past, they were allowing it, and they made special, I think there's all those, I think laws are made to stand behind, but I think there's all those exceptions. And I think in our case, ours is permanent. We're not looking to raise a couple kids and then have them go off to college. It's not the case at all.
And I understand
And,
and appreciate that,
yeah.
I do, but maybe that's more of a code thing than a hardship thing in your case,
Yeah,
in my
yeah,
opinion.
yeah, I agree.
So,
And it is.
That's a
and-
whole different
But,
problem.
but
if-
I
if
know
that's what it
exceptions
is.
could be made to a code if they're ruled in that favor.
Well,
And,
if we can rule with one of the exceptions of the code, we can't just go against what the code says. We can't do that. I mean, our hands are tied in that point. Any other questions, or?
You're saying that I just can't make a motion to approve it, is what you're saying?
Any of you can make a motion one way or the other.
Right.
Our code provides that this proceeding's somewhat of a trial de novo, which means kind of like starting afresh again, and
Right.
you're hearing it in lieu of the special magistrate. The special magistrate did set forth on page 2 of his order that's in your packet, paragraph 7, and that just quotes directly from the Reddington Shores Town Code as to the criteria necessary for the applicant to meet in order to be granted a variance.
Yeah, I understand all that, Jim, and I, and I went through this when I was on planning and zoning,
Right.
too.
No, but
But-
I've always said if the magistrate or the commission feels that these criteria are met, then certainly you can grant a variance. If you feel that they're not met, then you should not grant a variance. I'm not an advocate one way or the other in a quasi-judicial proceeding. I'm not trying to encourage you to vote one way or the other, and please don't think that I am, but the commission has set forth the criteria, and if you feel the applicant's met the burden of showing that they're entitled to that, then certainly you can grant the variance. And I think that's what I always told the Planning and Zoning Board.
Exactly, right.
Whether I personally agreed with it or not.
Yeah, my thing is, and I've always looked at it this way ever since I've been in Reddington Shores. There's a lot of non-compliant houses here, and when somebody comes in and they want to make that house better and looks better for the neighborhood, I was always for it. And I'd like to make a motion to approve it, period.
Second.
If I could also add that part of the criteria was if we have an irregular lot. We don't, so that disqualifies us right there.
That's exactly right, but our code says you have to meet all criteria. We can't really overturn
I know,
that.
but that's
That's where our
mentioned.
hands are tied. We can't go against code. We have to uphold it.
I understand.
I mean, I totally get what you're saying.
Okay, I'm going to close the hearing right now. We have a motion, and did I hear a second? Any more discussion in here? If none, Mary, call the roll.
Commissioner Drum?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
No,
Commissioner Neal?
you can't.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. Vice Mayor Capper?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
No.
Okay, so the motion to approve the variance did not get a majority vote, so it's not, the variance isn't approved. And so therefore it's denied because of a 2-2 vote. So,
May we ask for a compromise, maybe not 5 feet, but whatever you are,
If you want to come back and talk to Steve about it, certainly.
okay. Thank you for your time.
I did have one question in my mind at the time, I was saying, I don't understand, I understand what you have, and I don't understand why you want to do the whole house instead of maybe the bedroom.
It'd look pretty funny.
Well-
It'd be the only house that looks like that. I
Well, I
thought
was-
he
You'll be
said.
the only house sticking out like
Yeah,
that too, so.
but
I don't know.
I mean, realistically, it wouldn't improve the looks of Reddington Shores if we did that either.
Okay. That's-
I mean,
that was just
it would
my
look
question.
terrible. Yes, we could do that.
That was
We
just
probably
my
could have done that.
But if you would come back to see Steve, then
Yeah.
whatever you need to do.
Okay.
All right, the next one is a resolution 02-2017, supporting home rule. Attorney
Resolution,
Denhart.
I'm sorry, Resolution 02-2017, a resolution of the Town Commission of the Town of Redding Shores, Florida, supporting home rule powers and requesting the Florida Legislature to amend Florida Statute 509.032 by authorizing local laws, ordinances, and regulations to prohibit vacation rentals, requesting the Florida Legislature to vote against any bills that would diminish home rule power of local governments, requesting the Florida Legislature to vote in favor of bills that would restore home rule power to local governments and providing for an effective date.
Motion to accept resolution.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
Motion and a second, any discussion? Hearing none, Mary, call the roll.
Commissioner Drummer?
Yes.
Commissioner Henderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Neal?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Capper?
Yes.
Mayor Adams?
Yes.
Guess that's just getting ahead for next year.
That's right.
It's already been adopted.
Exactly, ahead for next year. Next, proclamation for May 2017 for Older Americans Month.
I just want to know what constitutes older. That's all.
I think we're all gonna find out soon.
Define older.
I'm all for it.
All right, any public comments? Hearing none, the next workshop meeting is Wednesday, May 31st, 2017 at 6 p.m. Regular meeting Wednesday, June 14th, 2017, 6 p.m. With that, this meeting is adjourned.